Good morning, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Favorite Album of the Year. Today we're at 2009, almost at the end of the first decade of the 2000s. Another really, really good year, especially for metal and prog. It seems to be kind of like the kind of trend the last few years. The 2000s so far, a lot of really good up-and-coming metal bands and prog bands. Sure, you still got some of the old favorites who are still putting out albums, but I think it's kind of like the newer guard, right? The bands who've kind of popped up since the 90s, who are really starting to kind of infiltrate these lists every day. Not only the ones I'm doing, but the ones that I'm seeing you guys doing down below. So, no different here. You know, again, like I've said recently, I've been kind of going back to the end of the year list that all of us at Sea of Tranquility put on the website at the end of every year, our best of each year. And what I've been doing is, since we started doing that back in 2003 or 2004, I've been going back and looking at each year and seeing what I thought were my favorites at the end of that calendar year, and then taking a look at, well, which of those albums have really kind of sat with me and grown with me all this time. Because sometimes, you know, you pick favorites in a calendar year based on, you know, you reviewed it, you loved it, you bought it, you still listen to it, that sort of thing at the time. But then, like, well, how long did that last? So in other words, how long did my number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 last with me from, you know, 2009 to 2020? So I look back on it and I still absolutely love my number 1 that I picked in 2009. I don't know if I love it more than the one I'm going to pick today or my runner-up. I don't know. Really, really close. Really, really close today. And actually, you know, my then number 1 actually probably is becoming my number 3 now. My then number 2 is actually coming to my number 1. And my runner-up actually was much further down the list and now has been elevated quite a bit. So it's just interesting how, you know, over the years, and you're talking more than a decade here, your tastes kind of change. You know, some albums kind of, you start to like them even more. Some you kind of, you know, you were infatuated with them in the beginning, and then, you know, kind of your love for them kind of dwindles a little bit, though you still dig them, right? So let's get to my pick for number 1. These guys have been popping up quite a bit lately for me because I think this was a string of 3 albums in a row for them that were absolutely fantastic, and I still really dig quite a bit. Released March 24th, 2009, produced by Brendan O'Brien for Reprise Sire Relapse Records. I'm talking about Crack the Sky from Mastodon. You know, Leviathan, Blood Mountain, and Crack the Sky. 3 greatest albums from Mastodon. Super albums that saw the band kind of move from more of like a metal prog hardcore band to a true progressive metal band. Okay. Still little bits of sludge in the music, tiny bit of like kind of alternative rock, whatever, but for the most part, just a really good, sophisticated metal album. Okay, a lot of proggy tendencies. A lot of really cool songs and arrangement. You know, of course, you got the multi-part The Tsar, which is killer. Oblivion, Divinations, Quintessence. This, of course, is another concept album for the band. As they, you know, this is more about air. They got fire, water. They got all sorts of different elements that they cover in their concept albums. You got the Ghosts of Corella, Crack the Sky, title track, and The Last Baron. All pretty pummeling stuff, but very, very intricate. Lots of weaving guitar riffs and solos and things like that. Incredible drumming. You got 3 guys singing, so you got a lot of variety to the music. It's a great sounding album. Love the cover artwork. You know, this was, like I said, Mastodon released a trio of albums that are like just absolutely outstanding. You know, the quality would dwindle a little bit after this. The next album kind of went more for like a mainstream sound, then they kind of went back to the prog again. All their albums are pretty damn stellar, but I think the 3 that have obviously, you know, ranked pretty damn high for me over the last couple days, pretty special to me. Coming in as a runner-up for me today, again, an album that I really dug back in the day. I like more now, and I think the stock of this band in general has really risen for me. I'm talking about Transatlantic, The Whirlwind, of course, the supergroup featuring Mike Portnoy, Neil Morris, Pete Trewavas, and Roy Stolt. It's epic, epic, epic all the way. It's 77 minutes of full-blown, classic-sounding progressive rock. And then if you get the special edition, you got a bonus DVD with all sorts of or a bonus disc of all sorts of extra stuff, because these guys, when they go into the studio, they don't just record what's going to be on the album. They record a shitload of stuff that, and then, of course, when the special editions come out, you got a bonus disc of covers of stuff that didn't make the album, so on and so forth. So, classic, classic, classic. Love it. Love it. Love Transatlantic. So, you might be asking, well, Pete, what's that kind of number 3 album you were talking about? Well, I'll tell you. That number 3 for me was Nile, Those Whom the Gods Detest. That was my number 1 in 2009. Not surprisingly. It's a absolutely crushingly brutal album. Complex as all hell. Proggy death metal album from Nile. I still love it. It's a very, very close number 3 here. Very, very close. Also very close is Between the Buried and Me's The Great Misdirect, which as good, just about as good as Colors, which is the concept album that came right before it. Love them both. Wobbler's Afterglow is a fantastic album. Great Norwegian progressive rock album. IQ's Frequency. Stellar Neo-Prog from the UK, Amorphous Skyforger, Dream Theater, Black Clouds and Silver Linings, Porcupine Tree, The Incident, what else we got here? Creator, Hordes of Chaos, great German thrash, Obscura, Cosmogenesis, very, very good progressive death metal. What else? Candlemass, Death Magic Doom, great Doom album, love Candlemass. More to come on them in the weeks ahead. We're going to be doing Candlemass show coming up soon. Heaven and Hell, The Devil You Know. Really solid album from Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Ronnie James Dio, and Vinny Appice. UFO's The Visitor, Megadeth Endgame, Europe, Last Look at Eden, Immortal, All Shall Fall, which is a great comeback for the mighty Norwegian black metal band. Epica, Design Your Universe, very proggy, power metal. And Shadow Gallery, Digital Ghost, a great U.S. progressive metal band. So there you have it. Some honorable mentions, and of course, my 2 winners, Mastodon and Transatlantic. Curious to see what you guys come up with. Your top 1, your top 3, your top 5, your top 10, 20, whatever you want to do. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. We all have our favorites, and that's the way it should be. So visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So coming up, I finally able to get a haircut on Friday, it looks like. So I will say I'm kind of digging the little bit longer hair, so I'm looking to just kind of get it shaped a little bit better, because it's just all over the place. But yeah, I think I'm going to kind of keep it lengthwise. I don't know. I'm really digging it. So, I mean, I've always had kind of, little longer-ish hair, but I kind of like it the extra bit longer now. So I'm just going to kind of get it layered a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's Friday. But coming up, we're going to rank the studio albums of Argent. That's coming up today. We are going to also be doing a tribute to Paul Tonka Chapman, the late guitarist from UFO and Wasted and Lone Star, who passed away last night on his 66th birthday. That's coming up as well. Also, over the next couple days, ranking the studio albums, Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. Ranking the studio albums of Gary Moore. Top 10 songs, Gillan. Ranking the studio albums of Voivod. Plus some other surprises. So that's all coming up. You don't want to miss any of it. And we'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.